So the New York Giants are in a prime position to trade down in the draft this year, which is something that general manager Dave Gettleman has never done in his 7 or 8 years now of being a GM, which is one of the reasons I don't like him as a GM, because trading down is usually not a bad idea to gain more draft picks and some assets. So the Giants have teams behind them this year, like the Miami Dolphins, the Los Angeles Chargers, maybe the Indianapolis Colts, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if they move on from Jameis Winston. A few teams, maybe 4 or 5 teams that would want to trade up for a quarterback. So the Giants, of course, have the 4th pick this year. The Detroit Lions are in front of us at number 3. I think they're sticking with Matt Stafford. I'm not 100% sure, but that's probably the outcome. So I put together, I think, 3 trades total. There could be more options, obviously, but I put together 3 trades, 3 possible trades the Giants could make with teams behind them in the draft. Let me know if you guys want to make these trades, or do you want to stick at number 4? I mean, I think it would make sense to trade with one of the 2 teams behind us, being the Dolphins and the Chargers. I have a trade with the Colts, and I know, jumping back 9-10 spots in the draft is definitely a lot of spots, but you can still get a very good player in the middle of the first round. So we'll see what you guys think, and let's jump into this video. So the first option here is the team with the 5th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins. There's been talks about them wanting the Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I think I pronounced that wrong probably, but I'll get it right eventually. But there's been talks about them wanting Tua for a long time, so I think that's their guy if I had to guess right now, but I could be wrong. Obviously, maybe they stick with Fitzpatrick one more year, go all in for Trevor Lawrence the next year. I don't know. We'll see. But basically, this trade is pretty simple. You get your 3rd-round pick back, your early 3rd-round pick back that the Giants lost in the Leonard Williams trade, and you just move back 1 spot in the first round. So why does it make sense? You get your 3rd-round pick back. You also get to re-sign Leonard Williams in all likelihood, so you don't actually lose anything from that trade. And, of course, if you're the Giants, you're still going to get your guy. I mean, there is a very, very little chance the Giants draft a quarterback this year. It's not happening, in my opinion. I would almost bet my life on it. So you can basically say, all right, well, I want Isaiah Simmons, or I want Jeffrey Okudah, or I want Andrew Thomas at number 4, but let me gain this extra 3rd-round pick and get basically our 3rd-round pick back, and I can still get that same guy, the Okudah, the Thomas, or Isaiah Simmons, with the 5th overall pick. It would make a lot of sense to do this move. I don't think you're asking the Dolphins too much here. The Dolphins have a ton of picks this year, so I don't think them giving up a 3rd-round pick to move up 1 spot would be the end of the world for them. So, look, I like this move a lot. I mean, you're not asking for much here. You're basically ensuring the Dolphins that they would get their guy. Now, there is a chance, of course, that a team could jump, or trade with the Dolphins, or not the Dolphins, trade with the Lions or the Redskins, and then maybe they take Tua, and that puts an end to their plan. So this is probably a trade that would happen maybe the week of draft day or something like that, when teams know what's going to happen and stuff. Maybe draft night this happens. I don't know, but I think this is a realistic option. We'll see if it happens. Maybe you can get more than just a 3rd-round pick in return. Maybe they get a pick next year as well, because it does take a lot to move up in drafts, and maybe Dave Gettleman could play some hardball with the Dolphins and say, hey, I have the Buccaneers on the other line. I'm going to accept a trade with them, and they want to take Tua, so maybe you try to get them to up the offer. I know it's lying, but look, if you're a GM, you're allowed to lie. I get it. I think all GMs have probably lied at some point in their lives. So I think this trade would make sense. I mean, I would be very happy if they did it. Gain an extra 3rd-round pick. You can get a very good player at 70 overall. So we'll see if they do that. And this is the first option. Now on to number 2. For trade number 2 is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers. They have the 6th overall pick in this draft. We have number 4, of course. Jay Glazer reported that the Chargers are moving on from Phillip Rivers, so it's pretty evident they're going to get a quarterback in this draft. I mean, maybe they sign Jameis Winston, or maybe they sign Tom Brady or something crazy. I don't know, but chances are they'll get a quarterback through the draft. I mean, I think their guy might be Justin Herbert here in the bottom right. I'm not positive. That's just my guess once again, but I think he won Senior Bowl MVP, and the Giants have picked the last 3 Senior Bowl MVPs, so I'm pretty sure that streak will end at 3, but you never know, so we'll see. I'm just kidding. But so in this trade, the Giants would receive the 6th overall pick. You just lose 2 spots basically. But if the Dolphins were to stay at number 5, they're most likely taking a quarterback anyway, so you wouldn't lose your guy at a I don't know what to call it, a non-quarterback position. So if the Giants wanted a left tackle, cornerback, linebacker, they wouldn't lose that guy, because most likely the Dolphins are going quarterback, and then you have the Chargers to pick before them at 4, also getting a quarterback. So you're not going to lose your guy in this scenario in all likelihood. So you would gain the 71st overall pick in the 3rd round. Once again, the pick that the Giants don't have. They don't have a 3rd-round pick because of the Leonard Williams deal. And also get a 2nd-rounder for 2021. So maybe that's reaching a bit, but as I said, teams will trade a lot to move up in the draft, and maybe the Chargers, are in that situation where they just really want this guy. Maybe they really want Justin Herbert. Maybe they really want Jake Fromm. I don't know why he'd go in the top 6, but you never know, top 4. But you never know in the NFL draft. Crazy things happen. So I think this trade is pretty fair for the most part. I mean, I think teams definitely give up a lot. So you're getting a second-round pick for next year as well. So you'd have 2 second-round picks in 2021, which is great news. You get your third round pick back for this year, basically, and you gain but you also have a pick in the first round that only moves back 2 spots. And I don't think you would lose your guy, because in a hypothetical situation, the Chargers at number 4, let's say they take Justin Herbert. Let's say the Dolphins are still number 5, they take Tua Tagovailoa. So that's 2 quarterbacks right there, and the Giants don't lose any ground on any players they want. Let's say the Giants hypothetically want Isaiah Simmons the whole time. Isaiah Simmons in this situation would still be there at number 6 overall. Maybe Andrew Thomas number 6 overall. So that would be a great move, because you're not losing your guy, and you're also picking up 2 extra draft picks just to move back 2 spots. So once again, don't think Dave Gettleman does it, because he hasn't traded back in the draft yet. I think that if he doesn't do it this year, I don't think he's doing it at all, because this is a just prime opportunity to do so, because there are a handful of teams that need quarterbacks, and if he doesn't do it this year, then you just throw your hands up and say, well, he's never trading back anyway. So I think this would be a good move. Obviously, you gain 2 extra draft picks. I would love this, and I would definitely applaud Dave Gettleman for making a move like this. Now on to the last trade. It would be trade number 3 with the Indianapolis Colts. So for the Colts, we're not 100% sold that they want a quarterback in this year's draft. I think last year after Andrew Luck retired, I made a video about Jacoby Brissett, and my conclusion was at the time that I think they're going to draft a quarterback in the next year, which of course would be this year. I wasn't really sold on Brissett being a franchise quarterback. I think Brissett's a good game manager. He can make some good throws here and there. He won't make too many mistakes to lose you a game, but he also doesn't do enough things to win you a game. You know what I mean? So in this trade, you're moving back a lot of spots. You're going from 4 overall to 13 overall. So this is the one scenario where you probably don't get your guy. I don't think they get an Isaiah Simmons or a Andrew Thomas at 13 overall, but you still might get a really good player in the middle of the first round, of course. So if you're going to move back 9 spots, you're going to have to ask for a lot. And I don't know why I put Chargers. I definitely made a mistake here, so I put Chargers on the top right. That's Colts, not Chargers. So the Colts would receive our 4th overall pick. The Giants would receive the 13th overall pick, which the Colts have right now. Pick number 34 overall, which they got from Washington. I forget what the trade was, honestly. I can't even think of what it was at this point. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's from Washington, so that's their pick. Then you have pick number 161 overall, which is a round 5 pick this year. Now, round 5 is not, this great pick and all, but you could find decent players. I think, Ryan Conley and Darius Slayton were in that range last year, so you could get a good player in that range. Of course, Dave Gettleman, the one good thing about him is he knows how to find talent in the draft, so hopefully if he has a 5th round pick, he can also find another pretty useful player there. And also a 2nd round pick for 2021. So the Colts shouldn't be a terrible team. It's probably not going to be a very high pick in the 2nd round, but at the same time, you might as well try and get another pick for next year. I mean, this, as I said, to move back 9 spots is a lot in the NFL draft, and it seemed like the Giants can definitely get a lot in this situation. So once again, you'd have 2 2nd round picks for next year. You'd have another 2nd round pick this year that's very high in the 2nd round. So forget the 3rd round pick. You get 2 2nd round picks now. You also gain a 5th round pick, and yes, you do move back 9 spots in the first round for this draft, but as I said, you can also get yourself a very good player. So there's a lot of talented players in this draft. I'll admit I haven't watched everybody yet. I think I've watched most people on defense at this point, but not everybody on offense. I think I've watched some cornerbacks, defensive ends. I've watched trying to think what positions, safeties I've watched. So yeah, I mean, I probably have gotten to maybe 30% of this draft class so far, so I definitely have to watch a lot more of people, but so far I'm impressed with some of these guys. So the Giants should get a good player at 13 regardless. So I'm not saying this is going to happen. I don't see a GM like Gettleman moving back 9 spots in the draft. That's a bit excessive, but if the Giants were to get a deal like this in return, that's a lot of draft capital right there. I mean, you're gaining a 2nd round pick, a very high one, a 5th round pick, and a 2nd rounder for next year. So that's very useful for potential trades in the future. Maybe getting another great player in the 2nd round. Maybe you find another talented player in the 5th round, and there you go. That's how you build a football team right there. So if you hit on those draft picks, you can build yourself a team and find multiple starters instead of just one. So that's why I like trading back. So I think that'll do it for this video. The Buccaneers are an option. Trying to think what other teams are in there. Maybe the Chicago Bears. My gut tells me that they're going to stick with Trubisky one more year, but I could be wrong. So yeah, I mean, there might be another team out there I'm forgetting, but you guys can call me out in the comments about that. So that'll do it for this video. Let me know which trade you like the most. Maybe give me a trade idea that you have that I didn't put in here, and maybe we can go over that as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.